Hello, my name is Joe Hennis.
And I'm Jarrod Fairclough.
And welcome to Introduce Our Guest Star, a Muppet fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com. In this show, Jarrod and I are taking it in turns to surprise each other with this week's guest. And hey, this week is my turn. Jarrod, you have no idea who our guest is. Is that accurate?
It's accurate. And it's funny, you said this last episode, and I had forgotten how nerve-wracking it can be.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea. Because the whole thing about the show is going to be literally anyone who's ever even remotely worked with a Muppet. You could have Robert De Niro coming on. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, could be anyone. Could even be someone who never worked with the Muppets. Could that be who this next mystery guest is?
It's going to make it very difficult for me to guess.
Yeah, correct. But no, it's someone who has worked somehow with the Muppets. I'll give you that clue.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
All right. When you're ready, let's go with some questions.
Okay. Muppet, Sesame, or Henson?
Sesame.
Okay. Is this person a performer?
Yes.
Is it a human performer? As an actor and not... I say not a
right.
human performer. It's not like a dog the puppeteers, which would be impressive.
This is a human, but is not a human performer. I think I know what you mean.
Okay. Okay. Here's one. Have I met this person?
I don't know. If you have,
Okay.
We've never spoken about it, but it's entirely possible that you have.
Okay. All right. That eliminates a couple of people that I had in mind. Okay. Has this person done significant work outside of Sesame Street?
Yes, but I don't know how you're defining Sesame Street.
Okay, so I'm talking, for example, in my mind, it's like Stephanie D'Abruzzo, who had done Avenue Q.
This person has done significant things outside of Sesame. I mean, I think they all have, so that's a hard
question.
Yeah, but
okay,
the answer is a yes. For all
is it
intents
yes?
and
Okay.
purposes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, that's pretty good. Let me go with that then. Joe, is this Stephanie D'Abruzzo?
Jarrod, our guest today is the longest-running puppeteer in Sesame Street's history. He's the talent behind, below, and inside some of your favorite characters like Telly Monster, Slimey the Worm, Monty, and Mr. Snuffleupagus. He also sports one of the most epic heads of hair in the Muppet world. Jarrod, I am extremely pleased to introduce our guest star, Martin P. Robinson.
Oh my god.
How was that timing?
That is... Oh my goodness!
Dudes,
that was very quick.
I thought we were meeting next.
It is, well, yeah, like we were already recording the intro, so here you are.
So the way the concept of the show works, Marty, is that I had no idea you were coming until literally, usually we've got 5 minutes to prepare. No, Joe said your name and here you are.
Well, it's just accidental. I was down here a while back and then I went upstairs and put on some real clothes and just turned it on. I noticed that the thing was off and I turned it back on and there you guys are. Anyway, so hi.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Marty?
Good.
This is a big moment for me. I mean, you're like royalty in the Muppet world.
all you got to do is stick around for a while and not be a jerk and not die and poof. Poof, you're the old man of the...
You're doing well.
I mean, you haven't just stuck around. You stuck around. You've been sticking around for over 40 years now, which is incredible. I believe you are the longest running Sesame Street performer, aside from the humans, of course, but of the puppeteers. I think you're the longest running Sesame performer of anyone. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Wow.
Alan.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Alan Cumming was on the show. I guess it was a year ago or so. A couple of years ago. Anyway, and we were all there, all doing puppets, and he said, "Well, so who's the old man of the group? Who's been here longest?" And we looked around. And I said, "Oh God, it's me," and I hadn't really realized it until that moment.
There you go. Well, I mean, what a career you've had and continue to have. I mean, you're Snuffleupagus, and that breaks my brain because I've got almost a weird fear of Snuffy. I have nightmares of Snuffy running down the road towards me.
I actually wrote a letter a couple of days ago to a grown-up man who was a kid on the show, and Snuffy was going to work with Snuffy, and Snuffy came onto the set, and he, immediately started screaming and crying, and we couldn't do the scene. He spent, the next 35 years, worrying about that he hurt Snuffy's feelings, and he's learning to confront his fears now. So Snuffy wrote him a letter saying, hey, being afraid of a 8-foot tall, 15-foot long, giant, hairy Snuffleupagus is probably the smart thing to do.
We had Leslie Carrara on as a guest in our previous season, and she and I told a quick story about a time where we were backstage at Sesame Street, and you guys were about to do a Snuffy scene, and we all had to clear out. This was back by craft services. We all had to clear out to make room for you guys, and Snuffy was literally running. It's like that scene in Get Out where running directly at us and then making a quick sharp turn, which was an incredible moment that I will never ever forget from my entire life.
I do that. I do that on purpose. People think that I'm blind in there, and when I haven't got a camera on me, there's a monitor inside, so I'm looking at the monitor, and when the camera's on, I see what the camera sees. Like all Muppets do. But when I'm off camera, people think that I'm just thrashing around blindly, like a bull in a china shop. And the fact of the matter is, I can see pretty well, but people don't. But I count on people not knowing that and assuming that I'm blind. So then I'll run full speed straight for them, and then of course veer off at the last possible second. And I get enjoyment out of that, which.
Just a weird, perverse joy out of it.
Which is probably speaks very poorly of my character.
No, I love it. Well, it
terrifying.
got me for sure. How do you see when you're in the Snuffy puppet?
I see through the mouth.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Me too,
so you may notice when I exit, I've tried to stop doing this, but when I exit a scene, when Snuffy exits, very often he'll open his mouth when he's just going off camera. I kind of sell it as, what's that? But it's just me trying not to trample on a child.
Is that why he speaks so slowly, so he can be like, bye, bird? And now I can see where I'm going. Okay, I'm good. Keep walking.
Speak slowly so I can see. I've never considered that, but you're right. The slower I talk, the more I can see.
So can I ask you a question about Snuffy's voice?
Sure.
Because is that affected in some way? Is that did they put an effect on it? Because it's got quite a...
Yes.
What's the word? Because when I've seen you do it in I think you did Vanity Fair video or something, and you used a cup to sort of get that effect.
I used a cup. Yes, I remember that. A cup's in a pinch.
Paper towel.
Paper towel. Where's the microphone on this thing?
Oh dear bird, what are we gonna do now? Oh, we're supposed to have a play date, but I cannot fit through the door. Oh dear.
Okay, so is that
work at all?
effect? Yeah, it worked. Is that effect being done live, or is that something
Live.
that they do in a control room, or is that you talking through something?
What it is? It's a microphone that doesn't have a high end gain. Some microphones.
Yep.
I don't understand sound, but they have a really sensitive gain that can get lots of highs and lots of lows. This microphone is not one of those. What they do, what they used to do is they used to take a microphone and smack it against the wall until it was almost dead, and then put that in the end of a long a tube, like a vacuum cleaner tube. So the microphone itself is actually almost about a foot and a half away from my mouth. And then there's some baffles in there to keep it from popping. It can get really present. When you're speaking down a tube and you're speaking right into a microphone, it can be very direct. So there's little baffles to make the sound bounce around. And then it's just basically acoustically altered live. There's no post effect on it.
Okay. Yeah, because I've always wondered, listening to it.
Yeah, and anybody can do it with a paper cup.
Okay. I'll give it a break. I'll go later on.
Don't say anyone could do it, because then you're going to be out of a job.
Yeah, you're going to get yourself out of a job.
Jim could do it with a paper cup.
So, you took over Snuffy how long ago now? Jerry was doing it, and then I'm blanking on the name of the person who did it between you two.
Michael Earl.
Michael Earl, that's it.
Yeah.
So he did it, and then when did you take over?
I took it over in 1981.
Were you Snuffy for Follow That Bird?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you were. Was that one of your earliest things?
Yeah, that was before he was mainstreamed. Before he was,
He wasn't imaginary, in quotes.
He was never imaginary.
He was never imaginary, no.
It's become one of my missions in life to explain to people he was never imaginary. He just has bad timing, okay? He's shot.
Yes.
But he was
we don't have to go through that this time.
They accused Bird of it being imaginary.
Yes.
Which caused all kinds of deep emotional problems with Bird. So that shortly after the Follow That Bird is when we mainstreamed him into the regular cast. We had the whole the thing where Phil Donahue discovered him. But Follow That Bird was rather early on, before anyone had really met him yet. So we were still going the back way, and and when people showed up, he was going off to comb his fur or do something shy. And he was.
I mean, that's the nice thing about the movie is like the movie is that line where like some people still think he's imaginary, some people think that he's real. So the movie is able to kind of like do for both. Like you could watch it either viewpoint, and you still get the the same story, the same enjoyment. Nobody's confused. Yeah. But
when they mainstreamed him into one of the regular cast. Just all the opportunities for relationships and scenes and personal personal character growth and all just really opened up for him and me, I guess.
Speaking of Snuffy being a member of the regular cast, there's an episode or two, and of course I didn't look up to see when exactly this was, where Elmo is riding on Snuffy's back.
Yeah, we did that a couple times.
Is that like, did you actually have to cut a hole in the Snuffy puppet and have Kevin in there with you and I assume Bryant Young, or is he just like is it just such a good cheat that I never figured out that?
No.
Next to Snuffy.
No, your first idea is the correct one. Although we didn't have to cut a hole. Snuffy has a separation that basically bifurcates his body. When they transport him, it's horrible to watch, but they'll take him apart at the center, and they take his head and they turn it around and they insert his head into his backside. That sounds very indelicate, but it
You'd think this would help my fear of Snuffy. It is not.
It's probably not. No, it's probably just making it even worse. I apologize. It's a terrible visual. But that's the way they transport him. What point was I making? Oh yeah, so there is a scene that goes around there. So all we did was open up the Velcro seam at the top. But when Kevin did that, his feet had to go through the bottom. Of course, I'm not going to carry Kevin Clash on my back. It's rough enough. So his feet are actually down on the floor through another split in the bottom of the character. So as we're walking along, he's kind of shuffling along. We've done the exact same thing with Prairie Dawn, and Fran Brill was inside.
Amazing. I love that. Also, like I guess temporarily, Snuffy becomes a six-legged creature, like he's some sort of giant insect or something.
But as long as you shoot it artfully. If you shoot him from the 3/4 front is the best shot for that, and then when he's going by, you just make sure that the bottom of the camera is above the floor level, just above. But his belly is pretty low. It almost scrapes the ground, so you can get almost a full shot.
How is it? Like you've got the biggest character on the show. You also got the smallest character on the show, Slimy.
Yes.
How like that's such a juxtaposition. How do you sort of go about, I guess, playing Slimy? Because there's not a lot you can do with the puppet. You can do a little bit, but a lot of it, I think, has to be your voice.
And actually, I don't do the voice of Slimy.
Okay.
That voice is done separately. The voice is God, I'm blanking on his name.
Is it Dick Maitland?
Dick Maitland, of course, who's one of the guys who has been there since day one. So he does the voice. We tried using the vocal emulator on my voice.
Yep.
But any bleed through from any other microphone, and it would it would pitch it up there. So we couldn't do that. So Slimy has this wonderful eloquence to him. He's it's all in the movement, and and it's a kind of a study in simplicity. So even though he says very little, it's he's I always think of him as one of the more eloquent characters. But the moves are little things like this where you lift it up and you turn it just the tiniest bit this way and tiny bit, and so you're playing these tiny little angles, and you've got the little mouth thing there. So it's bing 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 bing. It's just these tiny little moves, and you're right. It juxtaposes with Snuffy. It's what we do. It's a kind of a perfect physical example of the range of what the job can be.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to assume that between your full-bodied puppet work with Snuffy and the intricate puppetry that you just described with Slimy, as well as like all the other characters you do, Telly and all the AMs and et cetera, is probably why you have been chosen as like the trainer for a lot of the international Sesame stuff. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about but yeah, some of the Sesame
you could do it all,
Well, yeah, as puppeteers do. I mean, we're trained in a lot of areas. You gotta know a lot about a lot of things, or at least a little about a lot of things. But some of the international companies do have walk-around characters, and certainly the experience is helpful with that. There are some puppeteers who have not been in walk-around characters, and that might be the experience of being inside that crazy massive thing. And and it doesn't matter how horrible or how heavy their puppets are. I always have the right to say, quit your whining. I'm in the biggest one there is. So
yes, you could say that to anyone but Carol Spinney, I guess, or I guess now Matt Vogel.
Well, I would never say that.
Similar.
I mean, they're both good friends. But Snuffy weighs a lot more than Bird. Are you kidding? Bird? He's just a fluffy, feathery thing is nothing.
Although with Snuffy, you don't have to keep your arm straight up in the air like Bird.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. I don't.
That seems like the hard part to me.
Yeah, that's a hard part.
I mean, not to defend. You are correct. Your job is very difficult.
Let's not downplay my job, okay? I actually had to play Bird this past season.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, a guest star who will go unnamed, and who has a little black mark against her name, canceled hours before she was supposed to be there. And it was for Elmo's talk show. Okay. We did a whole new season of that, and it was a shot that was they were doing a task like this and it had to be shot all the way to the floor, so we couldn't do it with a puppet. It had to be a person and a kid, and so there was nothing to be done, so they decided to put Bird in it, and Matt wasn't there, and so I got to put on Birdie and go through this. I had to go through a maze and then go under a limbo stick after loading a tray with an entire a service of food and drinks, and then serve it, and then plop it down and serve it. with almost no experience in the bird. Anyway, it was very daunting and great fun.
And you have to do the whole thing while looking at a monitor where everything
While looking at a monitor
backwards and forward.
down.
Yeah.
Just your average workday.
Yeah, which is one of the great things about working for Sesame and the Muppets is it's always something new. I mean, I've been asked, oh, you've been there 40 plus years, doesn't it get dull? No, it's always something new. And solving new problems in different ways and finding interesting solutions to stuff. It's and then all the character interrelations, and we're adding a bunch of new characters this season. It's always, you're always kind of by the seat of your pants to a certain extent.
And that's great. I mean, I love the fact that Sesame Street especially, but like all these franchises, Sesame and Muppets and all the Henson franchises, none of them are resting on their laurels. None of them are just kind of doing the same thing we've always done. We got to keep experimenting, and we got to keep taking chances and doing more things, new things, whatever it is, because what's the point if we're not going to continue to evolve?
Right. And that's one of the great things about working for this company is that they've never gotten complacent. They're always trying to be better. They're always taking the up-to-date information on kids, education, the world, how kids learn, what they learn, what's safe, what's not safe, and putting it to use. We just wrapped on Helpsters, the second season. Did you know that, Joe?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, we wrapped that.
I was aware.
Last Friday. So I've been shooting that since August, since the beginning of August. It's like,
how does Helpsters differ from Sesame Street? Because I know it's a lot of the same people, because it's a Sesame Workshop production. You're working closely with some of the performers like Stephanie D'Abruzzo, but there's got to be some big differences for those two.
Big differences.
Or not. Maybe they're exactly the same.
They're not exactly the same. No, they're not at all. We do have, it's a co-production between Sesame and Apple. So we've got Apple input that we wouldn't have normally. I mean, on Sesame Street, which makes for an interesting dynamic. And because it's a cut down, you can't have too many people on the set at any given time. It's a lot of that is remote, so getting things okayed, checking things out. We try to we work, we play on the fly to a certain extent. There's if there's something that's not sitting right, or if we have an idea, we'll say can I pitch this? That's the phrase that we use on that show is let me pitch you an idea. Bing, bing, bing. And we try to take care of that ahead of time, but sometimes it just happens at the spur of the moment, and you need things to be okayed. So that the chain of information is what I'm referring to is sometimes a little rough with that show, getting the information fast enough. That being said, if we don't get the information, we just go ahead and do what we think is right. And the cast and crew is just stunning. It's just wonderful. Not comparing it to Sesame in any way or saying one is better than the other. What I will say is the scripts on Helpsters are just incredible. They're just so much fun. And even though ostensibly, it's about computer coding, which just sounds like the most deadly, dull thing possible on the planet, it's they managed to make it interesting. Doing things in sequence and looping things and doing things in order or out of order, and the cast is just so cool. It's very close knit. There's a lot of tears on the last day.
Wow. Well, here's hoping you get a third season, because it's a fun show. I think if people out there have Apple TV, they should check it out.
And you never know. When we were just delighted that we had this second season. And I mean, call me naive, but it sounds like if you've got a show that's really cooking along and doing something useful, and I assume people are watching it. That's not my job. That you continue doing it, but I also live in the real world, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
I get that. I understand that too well, unfortunately. Well, to get back to Sesame for a second, I do think we have to talk about Telly, who is just one of my all-time favorite Muppets of any Muppet franchise. I adore Telly. I love his neuroses and his his je ne sais quoi, I guess. With Telly not appearing as much as he used to, is this like a part of you that feels like it's missing, that you don't get to play with Telly on the street every day?
Yeah. I mean, the shorter answer is yes. I miss him. Again, kind of living in the real world. It's characters come and characters go, and things that we're teaching and how we teach it and which characters are best to teach those things changes. I'm not gonna beat myself up, trying to keep a wave on the shore. It's just things change, and I've had some dear friends. I mean, one of my great mentors, John Stone, who I learned so much from, and was absolutely key to my existence as a performer. He wanted Sesame Street to stay the way it was, and was sad and bitter toward the end of his life that it was not something he could be proud of. And I have made a conscious choice not to do that, not to make the choices that John Stone made. I admire him in so many ways, but he was not happy toward the end of his life, and it had to do with not being able to deal with the changes. I'm a part of the show. I'm a part of the changes. If I'm in more of a supervisory capacity these days, great. I certainly don't want to outlive my usefulness or be a fifth wheel. That being said, I still have lots of fun and I figure somewhat useful on the show. But Telly Monster was my great savior, my great personal savior, and I would like to think that anything that's that important to me and that's personal a savior to me is somewhat universal. I mean, that's the kind of the way we do it. You make something intensely personal, and then you find out that it resonates with many other people when you've invested that much of your particular, in my case, neuroses into it, and that much of my caring and love and all that stuff. So yeah, I used to say that he was my, as long as I had Telly, I would never need serious, deep psychoanalysis because he was my safety valve. I get it in different ways now. I've been getting it. God, I've been getting it with Mr. Prim on Helpsters.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
He is in some ways as far out as Telly.
Yep.
The sad part about the thing about Telly was seen to be angry and frustrated, and the kids, the studies indicated that they thought that Telly was angry at things, and that was never an intention with him. That he was concerned, and he was worried about things. And my favorite reaction was when kids would say, "Okay, no, Telly, don't worry, it'll be okay," which lessened their fears and put their fears perhaps in perspective. That was one of the great uses of
Well, that's
Telly.
why I've always had so much of a love and respect for Telly, because I, am someone who has had some anxiety issues in my past. It was always nice to have Telly around, because Telly was sort of that what's the word? he was the representation of it, I guess. And I think, in such a, in a world where we're trying to talk about mental health, and I'm not saying, Telly had mental health issues, but I'm just saying that anxiety and stuff like that, I think it's something important that hopefully might get reintroduced, whether that means Telly needs to change in some way, shape, or form. I'm hoping, for your sake, for everyone's sake, we get more Telly.
Yeah, and from your mouth to God's ear, or from your mouth to the producer's ear. But yeah, and I do think. Thank you for saying that. I do think he provided a service, in that direction. Sesame is going in some different directions. We're going into deeply into some social emotional stuff and racial justice things, and we have some very important new directions we're going in. As opposed to Telly's anxiety.
Well, I'm excited to see what it is.
Yeah, we're excited to be putting it together. We've had some new casting sessions, and probably not too much I could probably talk about, although I haven't signed any non-disclosure agreements, but to be basically circumspect, we've had a lot of auditions. We're bringing some new people in. There's some staff changing, but it looks like we're gonna really hit the ground running in season 53 coming up. Well, actually, they're shooting.
Incredible.
They shot Monster Foodies this past week, and a new Elmo's World, for goodness sakes. So we're already into season 53.
Wow. Incredible. This show's going to go on forever.
Well,
no end in sight.
Oh, now you wrecked it. You had to say that.
Did I jinx it?
Who knows? I started season 12, and they were just astounded that that it had lasted that long. And and then we got picked up for another season. Isn't that cool? I
always think of the 20th anniversary special. There's a moment where Bob and Loretta Long and Ross Gorman, I don't remember who else, Sonia probably, they're all like sitting at Hooper's store, and they're just kind of reminiscing a little bit. And they went, wow, 20 years. Well, I think we'll make it to 20 more. Or here's to 20 more, whatever it was. And it's just like, now we look back, we're like, yeah, obviously you did 20 more, and then 10 more on top of that, and probably on and on and on. Like, what a phenomenon. I know it was a phenomenon, on the second, third season, as well as the 10th and 20th season, but like now it's almost too big to fail.
And it's an interesting thought, because we got pretty close a number of years back. What was that? Maybe 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. Things were, we were. Again, I haven't signed a non-disclosure agreement, but the amount of money that it was bringing in, as opposed to the amount of money it cost for production, was just way out of balance, and we were just hemorrhaging money for a good cause. I mean, a great cause, but it was not financially viable in a sustainable way. When they made the deal with HBO, that really kind of finally took away those financial fears. When we found a nice creative home and a fiscal home, I guess you'd say.
Well, that was an argument we were having. Like, I remember when we reported that news, that was an argument we were having with the fans, and that they were saying, well, Sesame Street has lost, what it was doing. And it's like, no, you need to understand, if Sesame Street doesn't do this HBO deal, there's no more Sesame Street. And people didn't seem to sort of understand that for a couple of years. Now it seems to be something people can sort of, make peace with. But yeah, for a long time, that was a real, genuine, fight in the comment sections.
Yeah. People saw it as as a selling out to pay TV, and this whole free public television show, which should be available and free to everyone. That now it was a subscription item. But you're right. Now that the world has lived with that for we're into our fifth year contract, 7-8 years now. It assures us moving forward into the future. PBS gets it for free now, 9 months later. So, and it's still very topical, and PBS doesn't have to kick into the into the production anymore. It was kind of the jewel in PBS's crown, you could say, for many years. But I think it's a good equitable plan. I mean, PBS was not bankrolling Sesame Street by any stretch of the imagination.
What happened to all that money we donated to get those tote bags? That didn't fully fund Sesame Street.
No, you needed to buy more tote bags, Joe.
If I'd known that, I would have bought more Tickle Me.
I already have so many tote
more Tickle
bags.
Me Elmos back in 1995.
No, yeah. I mean, all that really it helps, but production is costly.
I get it. Yeah,
I'm not a money guy. I have no idea what it costs. But man, when that studio is up and running, all the the hundreds of people that are involved, focusing on that show, on that moment, and all the people who have done all their work and are doing their work, behind the scenes and in offices and remotely. It's just astounding how much creativity has to get focused, down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Which is a great responsibility, and it's I get a heck of a kick out of it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they point your finger, and all that's right on you, on making it or breaking it at that moment. It's there's nothing like it.
Well, you've got I guess another little connection in that you got married on Sesame Street. Which
I did.
I did. Yeah, to your wife Annie. There's a couple of photos on the Muppet Wiki if people want to go have a look. But tell me,
are you looking at those photos now?
There's two photos of that on the Muppet Wiki.
See your reflection in your glasses.
There's two photos here. One of Oscar heckling as your wife and you are on the stoop, and then there's another one of the reception,
right.
And it's just like, I want to get married on Sesame Street. That sounds so much fun.
Yeah. It was one of those things where we were trying to figure out where to do it and what was centrally located to our friends and family. So we had the idea, and they said, well, you'd have to do this. Okay, well, so we do that. Then what do we do? Well, you'd have to to get the lights on and to get the doors open, you got to hire the unions. Well, okay. What do they cost? Okay, great. And it's every obstacle that they put in our way or challenge, we just kind of said, okay, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that, and we did it. And then finally, the last person, who could say no didn't say no, and we said great, so we did it.
I love it. Well, and you're probably the only person, the only couple that ever got to do something like that on the Sesame Street set. I don't think, like, even in the old days, anyone, as far as I know, got married on Sesame Street.
Maria and Luis got married.
Oh, sure.
But that was not real.
What?
It wasn't?
I know. And Oscar and Grungetta almost got married on Sesame Street, but that wasn't really real.
You're ruining Sesame Street for me.
Did Carol Spinney? We asked him to officiate the ceremony, and he was actually going to be ordained.
Oh wow!
Wow!
To get one of those online things. So he offered to actually perform the service. I said no. We do have a minister who's.
But instead, he heckled as Oscar.
He heckled. Yes. Why?
I mean, that's the real dream, is to be heckled at your own wedding by Oscar the Grouch. Yeah.
Why buy the milk when you can buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Something along that lines, that bad boy said.
Oh, Oscar.
And it was
At
like,
least he didn't say, I give it 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, he probably said that. Yeah, raise your hand, everybody who's been divorced in the room. Of course, I raised my hand.
So your wife Annie, she's also a writer on Sesame Street. So has there ever been like a time where the two of you have kind of clashed over something creative for the show?
Clashed? No.
Good.
No.
Great.
There was a time when I got a script that she had written, and I came home and I gave her one of these, which was
you're giving us the eyebrow look for those who can't see your face.
Yeah,
like a side eye there.
What she had done, or she had written a really nice script that featured Snuffy and Telly and Slimy all in the same scene.
Nice. That's what you want.
Well, she's trying to give you work.
Yes,
it's playing favorites.
Yeah,
nepotism at its finest.
So we had to. Yeah, I was like, okay, figure this one out, husband.
Does she know that's not triple the paycheck for you? You just need one.
No, it's not. You just no. It doesn't matter. I can go in and do no characters or do 20 characters. God, Ryan Dillon and I think we broke the record. We were doing it was for Elmo's talk show, and we were in Studio 3A over at the Sesame corporate offices on the green screen, and I think we each worked more than 50 puppets in one day. There were cases and cases and cases of puppets, and it was for the audience, for the audience for Elmo's talk show, and all those characters in the audience. That's all Ryan and me.
I was there that day.
You were there that day?
I remember you guys. I was, and I remember you guys were picking up like a chicken or whatever it was. And then I don't know why you had to go on for so long with every one of those characters. Like, okay, we need them laughing. And then it's literally just 5 minutes straight of this one chicken laugh. We're going to pull literally 3 seconds out of it, but we need 5 full minutes of it. Right. And then to do that 50 times in a row.
It was a heck of a day. But again, that's the job.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, for sure. What fun. And how hard to what a challenge to make it interesting every single time.
And then Michelle Hickey and Laura McLean had to carry in case after case after case of cats and dogs and vegetables and birds and all this stuff. Well,
incredible.
I remember putting on an onion. Okay, what does an onion sound like? What's the character of an onion? But you don't have time to think. You just got to go, which is part of the.
What does an onion sound like?
What does an onion sound like?
That's everyone's homework for the night, is figure out if you were an onion, what would you sound like?
Yeah, and then laugh as an onion for 5 minutes, and then look quizzical, and then look right, and do double anyway.
Have you got any puppetry like horror stories, like things that you've done where you've been in a really awkward position, or like we were talking to Alice Deneen last week, and she was saying that they asked her to puppeteer next to a live elephant, and she was like, "I'm not doing that."
She said no to a live.
She said no to that. Yeah.
Oh,
I think she was going to be like on the ground.
She was going to be on the ground at its foot, and she's like, "I'm not doing that."
Yeah, you'd have to really know the elephant, and or just trust the trainer.
Do we have time to make friends with the elephant before I get on the ground and do?
Oh God.
Yeah.
We did a bit with I'm not answering your question yet.
That's right.
Stephanie DeBruzzo. We had an owl on Helpsters, a live owl, and she she has her character has little pigtails that go up that are part of her the way she expresses herself, and she triggered those pigtails, and it spooked the owl, and that owl jumped on her. There's an outtake of this huge, full-grown, great horned owl leaping on the back of Cody, and they're falling below camera. Nobody got hurt, which is lovely. But
I'm also more worried for for the Cody puppet, because I know those things get damaged. Like you rip that puppet, like that's it for a while.
Yeah. There's a couple of Codys. There's only one Cody that she likes.
Right. Yeah.
But nobody was hurt. Animals. They can be problematic. But a horror story that I've been through. Geez, I don't embrace my horror stories like some people do. I flush them and forget them.
Count yourself lucky.
I count myself lucky every day. I have no license to complain, but of course, sometimes I still do. When I hear horror stories of like some of my puppeteers in other countries, what they go through to go to work and do their jobs. Those aren't my stories, but man, do I empathize with them. There was one of my puppeteers in the United Arab Emirates. His parents found out that he was hired on a puppet show, and they tied him up to a chair in his room and beat him and shaved his head so that no one would want to see him. And he escaped out a window, packed his bags, hiked through the desert, and caught a truck to the airport, and showed up a few days late, but let us know that he was coming, but and then could never go home. Wow. And once in a while he would say stop on his way to work, and there was a construction site. He'd go out and take my picture because he was trained as a construction engineer, and take my picture next to this construction crew, and he would send that to his parents saying, I'm doing fine. But
wow,
really takes away your license to complain. And my puppeteers in Kabul, in Afghanistan, the two ladies who were the leads, they couldn't go to work the same route every day. Somebody, for fear that somebody might suss out their patterns. They couldn't be seen going into the studio known for television production. They had to change their route all the time for fear of death, and they showed up to work every day, and there was a bomb that went off around the block, and I think 2 or 3 of the production people were killed, and they did the show anyway. Those are the horror stories that you hear.
Really makes sitting next to an elephant a day at the park, doesn't it?
Well, everyone does what they can and puts up with what they can. The things, all the things that I've had to put up with that that at the time seemed really bad. Like we do a lot of location work on Helpsters, and we started in August. And it was blistering hot. And sometimes you're in the blistering heat, and there's no shade, and you're just you're slathering yourself with sunscreen, and you're just sweat to your underpants. And then we were worked up until, like I say, till last week in the freezing cold. 10 degrees, and you got thermals on, and you got boots, and you're just trying to stay warm. And that seems like a hardship, but it's nothing, compared to what, the fear of being blown up or beaten or ostracized or, some of the things that happen in some of the other countries. So it
really puts things into perspective. Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah. Well, on a slightly later note, I did want to ask you, how do you segue out of that?
Any other subject other than?
I'm so glad you had something, because I was sitting there going, I don't know how to segue.
Oh, barely anything. I'm just going to change the subject entirely and hope that it's fun. Meanwhile, over on the other side of your Muppet related filmography, unrelated to Sesame, I did want to ask you a little bit about your time on the Muppets Take Manhattan set, because
that was a long time.
I know it was a long time ago. I will say, first of all, every time I watch the movie, which is often, I always make a point to pause the movie when you have your on-screen cameo during the theater at the school near
the beginning
of the movie. You are watching Kermit perform on
the
stage.
television format. It gets cut off.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it gets cut off. I'm right on the edge on the television format, but on the widescreen, I'm right on the edge. We were all in.
Did you know that? Did you know that that shot is like people can like rent it or buy it for stock footage?
Really?
So like we've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it in other things. I believe they use it. Amy Sedaris has a like a craft comedy show.
I love that.
Which is hysterical. I love Amy Sedaris. She's amazing. And like she uses that scene of like whenever she needs to show her audience applauding, like there's you and there's Steve and everyone's...
I think Amy Sedaris owes me money.
Oh.
Let's not get litigious too quickly.
Good luck.
Amy Sedaris. I think the actors union might have something to say about that. That actually is interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think you can go onto like the Getty website and like it's one of those things you can buy is that and a couple other shots from that shoot of the film. Well, that's the only one that I think you're in as far as
they're buying it, then yeah. If it's on the Getty and if they're buying it, then everyone who's in there then they're paying me.
I mean, either way, I think Amy Sedaris still should like give you like $20 or something.
I would.
Just
you're probably getting some like random checks for like 2 cents like once every 3 months, and you go, "What's this for?" That's probably what it's for.
Amy, all I want is maybe a cupcake.
All right, we'll get it done.
That seems like a good trade.
She's
do you have any?
Well, she was just delightful.
Sorry,
I'm just saying she was on Sesame once.
That does not surprise me. She seems delightful. Do you have any really specific fun memories from the Muppet Sick Manhattan shoot?
We were shooting on that for a long time. It was where were we out of Silver Cup? I was very new back then, and I guess that was my first feature. Follow That Bird was after that, right? You know, I always trust you to.
No,
I think so.
So Manhattan was 1984. Let me Google. Follow That Bird.
It was 84.
We'll edit this out to make us sound smart.
Yeah, I probably won't.
They're like, oh yeah, we know the years for things.
Follow That Bird was 1985. So so Manhattan was first.
Okay, yeah, I was brand spanking new, and didn't know what I didn't know. So I was
right.
It was a good training thing, but God, training on a feature film is tough. I was doing the baby Muppet scene, and I was baby piggies. Baby piggies goes up a slide, and climbing up it. Just a quick little shot, and I was doing her hands, and we did 54 takes, and it was because I was messing up in some way. I had no clue what it actually was, and and I wish that somebody had said, listen, Robinson, do it this way, or this is not your shot. I'll do it. Do something else. But they just take after take after take till we did 54 takes, and I still feel bad about that. But I was just too green to know, a piggy hand from a slide grip.
Sure. Well, and then we found out recently that Jim Henson directed the Muppet Babies scene for that movie, so that may explain a little bit about like Jim may have been a little bit more patient with the puppeteers than like Frank, who was solo directing his first film.
I don't remember. My recollection is that Frank was directing that scene.
Interesting.
That Frank was the one that was saying again. I just remember his very, very sad face as we did it over and over and over again. But you know how recollection is. It's changed and altered by time and memory and God knows what. There was a I always tell the story of they had cast Kevin Clash to do the Swedish Chef's hands for the big final scene where they're doing the cake and the
Yep.
Right.
the decoration on the cake, and then somebody finally figured out that wasn't going to
No.
work.
Right. Yeah.
And so
we're all thinking it.
Yeah, at the very last minute, once somebody thought about it, they put me into that part, and that was very enjoyable. Doing
I bet
doing those hands. That was one of my favorite parts, and I got to put my hand in Bunsen Honeydew, and for a really wide shot where he's coming into a thing, and I got a long tutorial from Dave Goles about exactly what and what not to do with Bunsen Honeydew. But he was always one of my favorite characters. So just I got a kick out of being inside.
Is there a reason you haven't
That's cool.
You've done? I'm just looking at your thing on Muppet Wiki now, and there's a couple of Muppet things here and there, like Letters to Santa. Apparently, I'd have to go back and listen to it, but apparently you were performing Dr. Teeth and they forgot to dub it. So apparently there's a line of yours as Dr. Teeth in Letters to Santa.
There is.
Okay. Is there...
It's on Disney Plus right now, everybody. Go find it.
Peter Lind says there's a in Muppets from Space, there's a Fozzie line that he's that they forgot to dub, so it's him as Fozzie. But is there a reason you haven't done more with them? Is it just because you're so busy with Sesame and all the sort of productions around the world, or is it just a personal thing? Like you decided
with
more Muppet
the
stuff,
Disney Muppet? To be perfectly candid, there were years when they were the years that they were fully staffed and with the crew, Richard and Jerry and Dave and Kathy and Louise and the whole group. They were fully staffed up, and then there were, call it the years when the classic Muppets were kind of in flux, and when Jim passed away, and this is my take on it. This is not official. This is just me talking. And things were in flux, and the company got sold, and there was that German holding company that had it for a while, and then they started selling parts off, and that's when Sesame Street bought the Sesame Street Muppets. And and there were years when the Muppets were not really what you'd call a viable creative entity, in my opinion. And then when Disney finally did the deal, and they finally got it, and they finally found what to do with them, and and how to use them to their best advantage, and how to really breathe some life into these wonderful characters and this wonderful franchise again. By then, I was starting to be the old guy. I was not the new flashy young puppeteer anymore. I was so the guys that they brought in to breathe life into that were the new guys, the younger folks, which is fine with me. I don't mind being my age and having lived the things and had the opportunities that I've had. I had a massive amount of opportunities that those folks didn't get. So the way I look at it, I was, I missed that boat. I would love to have worked, Disney Muppet stuff, but by the time that franchise had new life, I had moved on to other things, and they didn't necessarily want, somebody who was in their late 50s working a puppet that I think he might croak before they or you could
I mean, maybe that's a good thing if you're playing a frog.
Right.
Maybe they want you to croak.
Yeah, but horrible pun jokes aside,
Thank you for the horrible. Yes.
I had, plus, that's one take on it. I was also very happy at Sesame Street, and kind of was somewhat useful at Sesame Street. So while some of the other guys and gals were, off doing the Muppet stuff, somebody had to hold down the fort of Sesame Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that for a few years, that was, I was helping to to keep the Sesame franchise working nicely.
Yeah.
And and I like doing my own projects too. And I've got a
You have a lot of great off Sesame projects. You had the Halloween stage show a couple years ago, which you'll have to remind me what it was called because I
All
didn't
Hallows
write it
Eve.
down. All Hallows Eve, which I saw some video. I saw some of the puppets, the photos of puppets. Like, it looks incredible. Did you build all those yourself?
Oh, there they are.
There they are.
Wow. Okay, we're looking at some spooky skeletons with some jack-o'-lantern heads, and what looks like is that a hunchback, or is he just hunched over?
He's just hunched over. That's
the guy next to him.
That's Spencer.
Okay.
That's a like a very strange, almost kind of Bunraku style vent dummy of Spencer Lott, who played
a puppeteer, Spencer Lott. Yeah,
played one of the leads in the thing. So that was a project of love that I worked on for a number of years. There's a point in this. I'm not comparing myself to anyone, but I really like being home. I'm crazy about my wife, and I've got young kids, and I don't mind being home at all. I can I'm not a workaholic. During the lockdown in 2020, I gardened for a year and a half, and there was jobs here and there, and things to professional work, but I'm perfectly happy working in a garden, and cooking dinner for my family, and playing with my dogs, and not going anywhere. Everything I need is right here.
Sure, yeah.
I'm right in the middle of a shop. I can build anything in this shop. And I
it's fun sort of seeing the shop behind you. Like, obviously this is a podcast, people can't see it, but you've got, there's two giant eyeballs I can see. There's an elephant head.
Yeah.
There's a very creepy clown puppet that's definitely gonna haunt my dreams.
Yeah. Oh,
he's gonna have his head and Snuffy's body.
Okay. Yeah. That is one of the creepiest things I've ever made. It's really, really terrible.
Oh no. I hate it.
I'll see if I can't put a photo of this on the Instagram or something when this goes live, but oh my gosh. Like, it's terrifying.
It's like a killer clowns from outer space.
And it's even creepier up close.
Oh no.
Oh, I hate it. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty I have a clown thing. So basically I turned all of my horrible clown nightmares into this character.
And he's got the little teeth
in different
that
ways.
go up. Oh yeah, that's terrifying, Marty.
Thank you.
Although he's not as scary when his eyebrows go up.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
this is
go ahead.
A small version of the same character.
Small version of him. That doesn't scare me as much.
Oh yeah, he's.
I'm picturing like 20 of them, like kind of nibbling at your feet.
All right, thanks for that.
Yep, there you go. That's a free one for you, Jarrod.
Well,
thanks, appreciate it.
Jarrod, and these from All Hallows Eve, so it started like a little sock puppet down here, and then and then it actually, as it gains in power, it gets bigger and bigger. And the final version, I'm sure you can pull them up online, but the final version was about, I don't know, 20 feet tall. And it was just
Oh, great.
horrible.
Incredible.
That really was designed to be pretty much the worst thing imaginable. This is not a show. Not a kid show.
No.
Wow. Speaking of your stage work, I think a lot of people don't know that you were one of the original puppeteers on Audrey 2 for Little Shop of Horrors in 1983, and then again when it came to Broadway in 2003. Did you work on the movie as well, or was it just the stage show?
Just the stage show. But I wasn't just a puppeteer. I mean, I designed and built the thing as well.
That's incredible. I mean,
original
that thing is one of the most iconic puppet characters in all of theater history. So I love it.
It was one of those things where life imitated art almost perfectly. Where in the play, the plant starts little and grows and eventually takes over the world. Where the play itself did exactly that as well. So it became one of the biggest stock and amateur properties out there. And then I did the original in '82, which was an off Broadway showcase that I made a whopping $350 for the entire run.
Wow!
And then did it again in 2003 on Broadway. As far as the film production, I was in London for a lot of the film production. Ellen and I were still together then, so we were living together in a nice little place, way off the beaten track. And I was actually doing Tale of the Bunny Picnic then.
Oh, interesting.
I was doing that project, which was shooting concurrently with Little Shop, I believe. And I started working on Spitting Image back then too. And so I was really enjoying the Spitting Image thing. And then my best friend, Anthony Asbury, did a lot of the lead puppeteering for the Little Shop film.
That's cool. So you were like kind of just popping in.
I was there on the set. I was there on the set as Ellen's boyfriend. That was
right.
That was my main purpose. And as somewhat godfather to the project from its inception. But
sure, yeah.
Lyle Conway just did an astounding job on the characters for that. It's known in the business as the last great rubber monster. It was just before CG, and there's no CG on that. They just played with the timing a little bit, the film speed.
Yeah.
But everything that you see, as far as all the movement on that incredible creature, was all cables, levers, and rubber. Done.
Wow, amazing.
I know. It's
incredible. Yeah. I love it.
Me too.
And then I also have to ask you, because as we're recording this, we're a few weeks away from Stephen Sondheim's passing, because you worked on set design for Frogs, one of his lesser-known musicals. Yeah. Did you ever get to meet Sondheim when you were working on that?
I did. We had the big kickoff for the project. Susan. God, what was the last name of the director? I'm blanking on her name.
Susan Strossman?
Susan Stroman.
I was close.
Yeah.
It was on the tip of my tongue, and it was the wrong tip.
And who's the lead on that? He also wrote it. Blanking. Sorry. But
that's all right.
We had a big kind of get together to kick the whole project off, and Stephen Sondheim was there. I mean, I wish I had had the nerve to talk to him, just to tell him how much I love Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
But that was a fun production to work on. I built some couple of crazy puppets for that, and one of which got cut, and it's one of my professional regrets that thing never saw the light of day, that never saw performance, because it was kick ass. It was really something special.
What was it?
It was this mythical creature called the Gaijis, and they wanted me to build this big, huge creature, and I came up with a concept and pitched it to Susan, and she liked it, and then she and I pitched it to the writer. Oh God, he was from the producers. It was in the movie The Producers.
Nathan Lane.
Nathan Lane, who wrote it.
We got there
and started it. Thank you. Nathan Lane. And so we sold him on this idea, and what it was it's kind of an old, it's a puppeteer meme to a certain extent, where you take a whole bunch of people and you form them. I guess you can't see this, but I mean, you two can, but this was one of the basis of it. My head is the pupil, and my arms are the eye, and now the pupil is looking left and right. So I designed this whole thing where, maybe a dozen performers, all in black velvet with red, orange, and yellow stripes as highlights on them. We're sewn carefully into the costumes, so that when they form together in this shape, they form this big, huge face. And some of them had teeth on their arms, and this person would hold the person's arm over here, and then have this big, huge mouth, and the eyes. They had helmets that they would put on their eyes to make their heads green, and then they had webbing behind their arms. So they'd lift their arms up there, and white fabric would be behind them, and they all kind of crawled and oozed onto stage in this swamp scene, and then they would form. Someone brought in a wheelbarrow, which was like a little step unit, and boom, 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 and this thing formed right in front of your face. And John Biner, the great comedian, did the voice for it. He was part of it, kind of like the third eye. He was there, and as he did the lines, the character kind of mirrored his face, and it was just
that's great.
He said, "Yeah,
that sounds incredible."
Looking forward to seeing that on the new season of Sesame Street.
Well, probably not. I'm I got all kinds of
maybe season 54. We'll see.
Give it a go.
All designs, but I'll trot that one out again some other time.
Well, Marty, we have taken up so much of your time. We could literally talk to you for hours and hours about this stuff.
It's okay. And I know you got a time limit, but the dogs have stopped barking. So
well, before we go, we do have Jarrod and I each have a series of questions. We each have our own that we ask our guests. This week, I've got a few questions to ask you, lightning round style. Feel free to take as much or little time as you'd like. Here we go.
I'm learning to be more brief with my being brief with my answers is a good challenge for me.
All right, we'll try, but if you fail, it's still a win for us.
All right.
Marty, what is your favorite dessert?
Favorite dessert? God, this is a lightning. So I got to think of like a fast answer. I'm rather fond of like banana cream pie, but pumpkin pie.
It's a great choice
with ice cream. Yeah. I'll go.
All right. Who is your favorite superhero?
When I was a kid, I loved Green Lantern. I just, for some reason, I was crazy about Green Lantern.
Yeah, love Green Lantern. If there was a Muppet based on yourself, who, beside you, would you want to perform it? Living or dead?
Who would I want to perform a Muppet based on me?
Yes.
Spencer Lott.
Great choice. Super talented guy. Marty, please pick a number between 1 and 100.
15.
The number 15 movie on the AFI Top 100 movie list is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Have you seen it, and do you like it?
Yes, I saw it when it first came out. I saw it in the movie theaters. I admit I was high when I saw it, and I was just in high school, and it was like the first time my older brother, like had me smoke some weed, and I was fit to be tied, and I thought it was one of the most amazing, beautiful things I'd ever seen in my life, and that hasn't changed. I think it broke so many rules of filmmaking and is just a marvel of simplicity and beauty and profundity.
I absolutely agree, and I've never even seen it high.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen 2001? It's great. If you can watch it on the big screen, I feel like that's the only way.
All right.
Like you need all of your senses to be taken up by the weirdness of Stanley Kubrick. And
you need to, not look at it with, through the lens of so many of the movies we've seen, with the mass splash. I think it's very accurate with regards to what space is probably really like, which is just quiet and nothing going on and waiting for month after doing nothing. But
the movie's more interesting than waiting around doing nothing for months.
That's right.
So our last guest, who was Allison Dinian.
Allison Dinian? Allison's wonderful.
She is wonderful. She, not knowing who our next guest was going to be, wanted to ask you, what instrument do you wish you could play?
Piano. God, I wish I could play piano.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I consider it one of my great failings that I can't speak any other language except English, and I can't play the piano. And I have bought a piano, and I was going to take lessons with my little daughter, and I still think I could still learn how to play piano. And,
it's never too late.
I'm the same. I took lessons when I was about 12, and I stopped after about a month because I was like, nah. And that's like my biggest regret in life, that I didn't do it, because I just want to get behind it and know what I'm doing. I don't need to be a master pianist. I just need to get behind it and kind of can bang out "Let It Be" by the Beatles, and that's about it.
Yeah. I would just like to know some chord progressions and to be able to noodle in a way that mirrored what I was feeling.
Well, I'll come over to America and we'll take lessons together. How's that sound?
Yes. I need to push myself on that. I still think I could do that.
Yep.
For sure. And finally, without knowing who it is, what question would you like our next guest to answer?
What makes them delirious with joy most in their life?
I like it.
That is something we're genuinely curious about, whoever that next guest is going to be.
Even I don't know who that next guest is going to be, and I have to bring them here. So that'll be fun.
Figure it out, Jarrod.
Choose that guest based on that question.
You know what? I'll keep it in mind. I'll remember that.
Well, Martin Robinson, thank you so much for being here. This has been an absolute delight. Thank you for chatting with us about Sesame and everything else that you do and you've done. We're looking forward to the next season of Sesame Street and the next season of Helpsters and everything else that you've got in the works. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. I will say now, this is a real joy. I was in a room with you once. This was back many years ago. And I was this was 2008, so I came to the set of Sesame Street, and I was too nervous to go and say hello to you. And I was like, there's Martin Robinson. I should go, no, I can't. So it's lovely that I get to actually sit and properly say thank you for all the amazing stuff you've done.
You're very welcome, and you can come over and give me a hug anytime for any reason. I will
do so.
Oh, what an invitation. Wow.